Hello there, welcome back to my second channel, welcome back to Jack in the Books, and happy freaking new year. It's 2023, it's January, it's a fresh start, and these are the books that I'm hoping to read this month. So let's dive straight in, shall we? I put my contact lenses in today for the first time in nearly a month. There's been a bit of a lack of videos for me because I got an eye infection, it was a nightmare, I haven't been able to see. So last year ended really well for me, suffice to say, but that's in the past. We're not speaking about that. Let's talk about the books that I want to read in the first month of this year. Firstly, The 7 Moons of Marley Almeida. Now, I started reading this. I read the first 80 pages. No, that's a lie. The first 48 pages. And I was enjoying it. I was reading this when my eyes went tits up, when everything went wrong. And I feel like I just weirdly associated that with the book. I stopped reading the book because it was hurting my eyes so much, and then I had to go to hospital, and that was that. I'm really trauma dumping this eye thing on you, I'm sorry. It's been a nightmare, but anyways, I need to pick this back up and continue reading it because I was really enjoying it. It won last year's Booker Prize. It's set in Sri Lanka, and as you know, I love Sri Lankan literature, so 7 Moons of Marley Almeida. Another book I'd like to read this month is I Love You, But I've Chosen Darkness. I think this cover is just the best thing I've ever heard. Leaving behind her husband and their baby daughter, a writer gets on a flight for a speaking engagement in Reno, not carrying much besides a breast pump and a spiraling case of postpartum depression. Her temporary escape from domestic duties and an opportunity to reconnect with old friends mutates into an extended romp away from the confines of marriage and motherhood, and a seemingly bottomless descent into the past. Deep in the desert where she grew up, she meets her ghosts at every turn. The first love whose self-destruction still haunts her, her father, a member of the most famous cult in American history, her mother whose native spark gutters with every passing year. She can't go back in time to make any of it right, but what exactly is her way forward? Alone in the wilderness, at last she begins to make herself at home in the world. A darkly funny, soul-rending novel of love in an epoch of collapse from one of the most provocative novelists of our time. How good does that sound? And if you have a title like that, you know I'm going to read your book, so well done. Well done, Claire Watkins. Nicely done. Anyway, the next book I would like to read is this poetry collection. This is Beast at Every Threshold by Natalie Wee. An unflinching shapeshifter, Beast at Every Threshold dances between familial hauntings and cultural histories, intimate hungers and broader griefs. Memories become malleable. Pop culture provides I glitched. Pop culture provides a backdrop to glittery queer love, and folklore speaks back as a radical tool of survival. With unapologetic precision, Natalie Wee unravels constructs of otherness and names language our most familiar weapon, illuminating the intersections of queerness, diaspora, and loss with obsessive, inexhaustible ferocity, and in resurrecting the self-rendered a site of violence, makes visible the beast at every threshold. Ugh, so good. Then, it's the big one. We've all been waiting for this. It's Babel, or Babel, depending on which side of the Atlantic you live on. This is Babel by R.F. Kuang. Yes, I have previously made a video saying I would never read this book. That was a joke. That was a joke. And also normalise being wrong. Normalise going back on things that you've previously said. I jokingly said that I would never read this book because I didn't want people to correct me when I called it Babel, and they said, well, in America we can pronounce that word Babel. I still feel a sense of fear and dread because you just know, if you make content about stuff, you know that if there's one thing that is a cause of like contention, like the pronunciation of this word as Babel or Babel, you know the whole comment section is just going to be like, he pronounced that word wrong. And I'm like, let's talk about the book, because this is meant to be one of the most incredible books that was published last year. I actually was really, really lucky to get to go and see Rebecca F. Kuang talk at Book of the Month. They have their headquarters in New York City, and I got to go and hang out with the team and see R.F. Kuang talk, and then I got to talk to her, and she was wonderful and amazing, and I'm so excited to hear what she's got to say in this book, because hearing her speak in real life, IRL, was so inspiring. Like, she's a great speaker, and so I cannot wait to see how she writes, and I'm so excited about this. So excited. This is a top priority for January. And conveniently, this is going to be featured in one of my videos on my main channel that's coming up, because I'm going to be reading the most popular books. I'm still working out the title, but I'm going to be reading like the most popular books on the internet in the past year. So I did this big tally, like this audit of the most recommended books on BookTok and BookTube, and Babel came out on top by a long way. And then the other book that was up there was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which you know I've been wanting to read for ages, and I've sort of been saving it for this video because I kind of knew that it would be one of the internet's like top picks of the year. I wrote down predictions beforehand and I predicted both of these would be on that list, and they were right at the top. So Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, all about two people who create a game together and then their lives. I am so excited to read this, and I bought it for some people in New York and they all really enjoyed it, so I now need to read it too. Another book that is going to be featured in that video, which I bought especially for that video, is this one, and I'm scared to even hold it up because I know that some of you are going to be commenting on this. It's a Colleen Hoover book. It is Reminders of Him. Listen, I am open-minded, and I read It Ends With Us. I thought Colleen Hoover was a great storyteller. I didn't necessarily love the book or its themes or the way that it was executed, but I do think that Colleen Hoover is a great storyteller. I also read Verity, which I thought was interesting. And listen, I'm going to give Reminders of Him a go. It was one of the most recommended books on YouTube and TikTok in the last year. It actually really surprised me that this was so high up there and that this was so highly recommended, because I really feel like I haven't heard that much hype about this particular book, but I'm gonna give it a go and I will let you know what I think of it in due course. Also, before I move on to the next book, I just wanted to let you know that today's video is very kindly brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the go-to platform to head to if you are looking to build a website or an online store, and what better way to do it than right at the start of the year. So many of us have ambitions to like set up our own business or set up our own brand, and right now is the perfect time to give yourself a kick up the backside and actually do it. And Squarespace makes this very easy because there's tons of templates which are so helpful to use as a starting point, which you can then customize, make something completely your own that just exudes your personality, your brand, and what you are trying to create. There's great analytics tools, and you can also create a blog so you can share what you're up to behind the scenes and let your customers or your clients or your viewers know what you're doing and what you have to say. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, or maybe your New Year's resolution was to finally start that business that you've always dreamed about, do it right now. You can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then you can use my code JackInTheBooks at squarespace.com/JackInTheBooks to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So there you go. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and now the next book. Now, I'm a firm believer in starting the year with short books because I think it just helps you to get like ahead of your reading goals, so that then you can invest more time in like longer books that are more sprawling and take a little bit longer to get through. And so I'm starting the book, and so, oh my god, why can't I speak today? You can tell I haven't been filming for a little while. I need to get back into it. Anyways, I think what I was trying to say is I'm going to start the year with this book. This is Marigold and Rose. It's by Louise Gluck, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature. I recently read some of her poetry, and it's about these two twins, like growing up, and I think they represent different things, like different facets of human nature, and they have this kind of like symbiotic relationship. So yeah, I'm intrigued to read this one, and it's very short. I think it's like 50 pages. Then we have this book. This is People Change by Vivek Shraya. People change. We change our haircuts and our outfits and our minds. We change names, titles, labels. We attempt to blend in or to stand out. We outgrow relationships. We abandon dreams for new ones. We start fresh. We seize control of our stories. We make resolutions. In fact, no one knows this better than Vivek, who's made a career of embracing many roles: artist, performer, musician, writer, model, teacher. In People Change, she reflects on the origins of this impulse, tracing its childhood influences from Hinduism to Madonna. What emerges is a meditation on change itself, why we fear it, why we're drawn to it, what motivates us to change, and what traps us in place. At a time when we're especially contemplating who we want to be, this slim and stylish handbook is an essential companion, a guide to celebrating our many selves and what inspiration to discover who will become next. I feel like this is the perfect book to like start the year, and so this is in my January TBR. Then another slim thing, we have Small Things Like These. This is set at Christmas time in Ireland, and it's meant to be this kind of like slow, understated, little book, and I love that vibe, and I feel like because it's set around Christmas time, like now is the time to read this right at the beginning of the year, because I can't wait a whole year to read this. I don't want to wait until next Christmas, so I'm gonna read it now. I love this like snowy picture on the cover too. I think that's beautiful. Next, I was just sent this and I started reading it on the train today, This is Haruko / Love Poems by June Jordan. I read the first half and I really was enjoying it. So yeah, this was sent to me as like book mail, and straight away I was like, that's exactly what I want to read today. In trailblazing poet, essayist, teacher, and activist June Jordan's verse, love is a vision of revolutionary solidarity, crossing borders both emotional and literal with an outstretched hand. Haruko traces the faltering arc of a passionate love affair with another woman, while Love Poems encompasses relationships with men and women, political resistance, the need for self-care in a demanding, uncaring world, and apocalyptic visions of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. June Jordan's spectacular poetry remains profoundly politically potent. Wow, try saying that 10 times fast after a shot. Profoundly politically potent, typically inventive and breathtakingly romantic, this searingly beautiful collection of poems about compassion, resilience, and desire comprises an iconic and enduringly vital modern classic. There you go. And then the final book on my January TBR. By the way, there's quite a few books this month, and that's because I'm traveling a lot, I'm going away, and I feel like the books are going to be my real companion for the next month. I've got like, I'm going to Scotland, I'm going to Dublin, I'm going to France potentially twice, definitely once, potentially twice, and also Spain. So I'm like all over the place. But anyway, this is the final book that I want to read this month. This is Bliss Montage, and this is a short story collection by Ling Ma, who wrote Severance. So Ling Ma, the author of Severance, brings us 8 wildly different tales of people making their way through the madness and reality of our collective delusions. Love and loneliness, connection and possession, friendship, motherhood, the idea of home, revealing that the outlandish and the ordinary are shockingly, deceptively, heartbreakingly alike. There you go. And how gorgeous is that cover too? It's so striking. And I love that colour. Any book with that colour, I'm drawn to. So instantly drawn to. And so that's a lot of books to get through this month, but a few of them are quite short, and I think that I can do it. I hope that I can do it, because I've said it on the internet now. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will catch you very, very soon. Bye-bye!